What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more NBA news to, of course, be talking about with you guys. For those of you who haven't heard about this already, the New York Knicks will apparently pursue Duncan Robinson in free agency and are expected to be one of the most favourite teams to actually go out and sign him. And this is all being reported by Ian Begley, who is one of the biggest New York reporters out there. Now, I don't know if I really like this decision exactly too much. I think there is a lot the New York Knicks can do on this free agency. Like, I think it's an understatement how many players they can sign in free agency. Like, if we think about it like this, right? Right now on their team, there is only a few contracted players. So there is Randall, who's on about a $19 million offer. Quickly, who's on about a $2 million offer. Toppin, who's on about a $4 million offer. Knox, who is on about a $5 million offer, I believe. And I think Robinson's on about a $2 million offer. That's pretty much the players they've got contracted. Then everyone else is going to be free agents. Then if you think about it like this, it is reported they're going to be trading Toppin, a first-round pick, and Kevin Knox for Colin Sexton, which I'm sure most of you guys have heard about this by now. Like, I don't even know if that trade's going to happen, but it's been reported that many times that it's probably the most likely trade to happen out of any trade reports we've heard so far. If they make that trade, right, so they trade away Knox's $5 million and Toppin's $4 million for, I believe, Sexton's $5 million, the team saves another $4 million. Realistically, right, if this team, of course, all the free agents they'll have, the players, they'll probably trade, the players they won't bring back, like Frank Ntilikina. Realistically, going in the free agency, this team will have upwards of $50 million to spend. And I believe once they've got rid of, the players that they don't want and whatnot, they will have $60 million to spend in free agency, including bird rights. That basically means this team has enough for 2 max players. And then once they sign those max players, I believe they can actually go out and sign some bird rights players, like Derrick Rose and, of course, again, as I said, Derrick Rose and Reggie Bullock. But how I don't know if this whole cap situation will work is if you bring the 2 max players in, usually teams can go over the limit to bring back in players that are, done by the bird rights. But I'm not exactly too sure if this team will have enough money, because let's just say they bring in Sexton, they'll have to sign him, for a big $20 to $30 million contract, and then they'll have to, of course, re-sign Randall for about a max contract as well. You might be like, whoa, that's a lot of money. That's nearly 4 maxes. Well, if you think that's a lot of money, you should see the Golden State Warriors roster. They've got 2 Supermax players, I believe. You've got Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. They've got a max in Andrew Wiggins. Draymond Green's on $25 million a year, and I believe James Wiseman will be on about $10 million a year. The New York Knicks don't even come close to getting to that. But if they were to bring back players like Reggie Bullock and Derrick Rose, which I still think they will be, they'll probably get into a similar stage of what the Golden State Warriors are in being completely and well above over the cap. But again, this kind of brings it all back to how would the New York Knicks sign Duncan Robinson? Because I don't think they'll be looking to sign a bunch of role players if they can already bring back role players back using bird rights, whether that's, Derrick Rose, Reggie Bullock, Alec Burks, etc., who I believe they all have bird rights on. Maybe not Alec Burks. I think it could just be Bullock and Derrick Rose, but I'm sure you guys get what I mean. They're not going to pick, of course, a bunch of role players like Duncan Robinson over 2 max players. Now, you might be like, well, what 2 max players are they going to get? There is a rumor that DeMar DeRozan really wants to go to the New York Knicks, and again, it's believed that he said he wants to play for a big market, Eastern team. And again, people have been ruling out Toronto Raptors. And there was, I think, a link back to the New York Knicks a little bit ago, and we've known the Knicks have been interested for a while. So I think the Knicks will be the most favourite. Then if you kind of link it back to a guy that DeMar DeRozan's been wanting to play with again for a long time, his best mate Kyle Lowry, who he used to play with on the Toronto Raptors, I could see Kyle Lowry also coming to the New York Knicks. Even though, in my opinion, he will probably go to Philadelphia, I could still see him being a New York Knicks player. So again, let's just say they do sign them. Kyle Lowry, of course, DeMar DeRozan. Let's just say, who knows, to make up the cap situations, maybe they have to sign, trade away one player. I don't think they'd mind trading away Emmanuel quickly to bring back in Kyle Lowry. I think that's a pretty good return for them, and at least the Toronto Raptors, get something out of Kyle Lowry. But hey, they could legitimately be looking at a roster of Kyle Lowry at point guard, RJ Barrett at shooting guard, DeMar DeRozan at small forward, Julius Randle at power forward, and probably Mitch Roberts center, unless they go out and sign like a dude like Andre Drummond, who's from New York, on a cheap contract, which they probably won't be able to do, because again, this team will have no cap once they get all this done. But hey, it's an idea. Then off the bench, they'd have like Derrick Rose, Colin Sexton, probably Reggie Bullock, maybe even Alec Burks. It'd be a pretty small ball bench, but considering how good this team is still defensively and offensively, this team would probably be nearly the best in the NBA if they can make this happen. Like, you'd have 3 All-Stars, really, in that starting 5, plus Colin Sexton, who averaged 24 points per game, probably coming off your bench, and then a dude like RJ Barrett, who's, like, on the verge of averaging 20 points per game. So, the New York Knicks team would be crazy. Where do they fit Duncan Robinson in? They just don't, unless they can only sign 1 star, which is still an option, which would probably be DeMar DeRozan. Then they might look at Duncan Robinson, but I doubt it. They'd probably go for, like, a more of a scorer type player. They've got enough catch and shoot role players like Reggie Bullock, Alec Burks, etc. They don't need another dude like Duncan Robinson, I don't think. I think they'd only get Duncan Robinson if Bullock decided to make a surprise move. And that's not to say, like, the Heat won't match it. Like, I definitely think the Miami Heat would probably be looking to match, like, a Duncan Robinson, type situation. So that's also on the cards, as well as the fact that they probably won't be able to sign him. Because even though he's reported going to be getting $15 million, type deals, there was even a rumor our team would be looking to offer him like a $20 million deal, which is a crazy overpay. I still think the Heat will probably match most after that comes to them, just based on the fact that this dude's like a necessity for that team. Like, he's a catch and shoot dude that I guess they don't really need too much anymore. They'd probably, if they're looking to do a sign trade, it was a rumor they could do the Tim Hardaway one, where it'd be a sign trade of Tim Hardaway for Duncan Robinson. That could actually work, considering I think the Heat need a big-time scorer. That's why they're also interested in Sexton, but then you also look at it in the sense and fashion of, I think the Dallas Mavericks desperately need a catch-and-shoot dude to put, alongside Luka. So that could be another option. I just think that'd be the most perfect situation for Duncan Robinson, is if he went to Dallas and played with Luka and, became his catch-and-shoot type dude, rather than just being another guy on this, of course, New York Knicks team. And look, Duncan Robinson, if he went there and they ended up getting DeRozan, would he even start for this team? I don't even know. I don't even know how this New York Knicks team would even go about this. A lot of people will have different ideas. Like, let's just say they want to keep bringing Derrick Rose off the bench. I guess they could run, like, a lineup which looks like, the Lakers had that lineup in in the 2020 season, where they kind of ran LeBron James at point guard, but he, guard the small forward position. They could try and do a similar thing with DeMar. Like, DeMar definitely has playmaking abilities. He averaged, like, nearly 7 assists per game this season, and only seems to be getting better as a playmaker, like, which is crazy to think about. So I guess he could kind of, like, start at point guard but defend the small forward position. Then when, Derrick Rose comes on the floor, he will be the main point guard. I guess that's, like, a scenario. So realistically, DeRozan would only be playing, like, point guard for, like, 18 minutes of the game, and he'd pretty much just be a point forward. I don't know. It's just an idea. I'm not saying it will happen. It's just an idea if they were to get Duncan Robinson and DeRozan in, and wanted to start Robinson, DeRozan, and Barrett, of course, all in the same lineup. There's also the idea of maybe you play Randall at small ball center, but they're not going to do that. Like, I think they're pretty confident that Mitch Robb will come back, or they'll get maybe an Andre Drummond dude, or even Nerlens Noel. He did a pretty good job in the playoffs. So there's a lot of ifs and buts with this New York Knicks team. Of course, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for the latest NBA content and NBA news. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlogging channels. And don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. And comment your thoughts and opinions on this. Would you guys like to see the New York Knicks go out and get Duncan Robinson? Do you guys think they should just go out and get DeMar and Lowry? How do you guys think they should, of course, all go about handling this? But as I was saying, of course, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.